Hi, Lauren.
Hey.
It's so nice to talk to you. Yeah, I can't wait to hear about what you're working on at Azule. But first, I just kind of want to know a little bit more about you and your work. So if you can just kind of start by telling us about yourself, your background, and your creative practice.
Yeah. So I have lived in North Carolina my whole life. I grew up kind of outside of Raleigh and then went to school in Boone for studio art and focused on painting and drawing, and just like mixed media stuff. So sculpture and installation as well near the end of it. Um, and then moved back to Raleigh after I graduated and then moved up to Asheville almost 2 years ago exactly. So we moved up 2 Halloweens ago. Um, and it's been such a like area filled with so much creativity. Um, yeah, and I kind of like I think after being out of school and having like the pressure of like you have to make, um, and doing art for my job, um, in a different way. I think I like fell out of mixed media painting drawing practice. And this has been a really good way to like get myself back into it. Um, and a lot of what I've been doing here has been like remembering what materials work together and what materials don't, and just like how just like the process. So it's been a really cool thing to jump back into that like mindset in that world.
That's so great. Yeah, I'm wondering, can you tell us any more specifics about what you've been working on at Azul? Like what media are you using? What scale are you working at?
Yeah, kind of a bunch of different things. I tend to work on like 3 or 4 paintings at once, so it all becomes kind of like one painting in a way. Like they kind of talk to each other. Um, so I've been working on like 4 canvases. Two of them are like wood panel, and then two of them are actual like cloth canvas. Um, and then I'm also working on like another smaller wood piece that are like 2 circles. And then I've been making books. So I've been most of my first like day and a half was just like ripping paper into these like small little it's like this big stack of paper, and they're all sewn together now in signatures. Um, and then I'm gonna make this little like star book too. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I tend to work like or draw really small, and then my paintings get really big. Um, but I've been working on. I'm looking at them from across the room. I've been working on these little like they're like epoxy clay covers for the books as well. And that's kind of been a good like in between time when I feel stuck on painting to like come back to this that I like, okay, I know the like structure, I know the process, and it's just like these are the rules. Um, so it's been nice to like come back and forth between that like function and then like really intense like emotional painting stuff. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's
um,
great. Thanks for showing us the in process stuff. That's
yeah.
always exciting. I love the book idea. That is so cool. I think the star one especially reminds me so much of what I see in your tattoo work.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you are open to talking a little bit more about your hand poke practice and
Yeah.
how you kind of balance being this successful creative professional while also having this fine art work that you're doing as well.
Yeah, they feel very like separate, but then there's this bubble that they kind of like share together. Um, yeah, so most of what I tattoo are just like graphite drawings, which is kind of where painting starts sometimes. And most of the like imagery that comes through in my paintings or that like shows up at some point, are like derived from I do like meditations in um they're called hypnagogic, it's called a hypnagogic state, which is kind of in between asleep and awake. So sometimes I'll just like lay in bed and just like go into that space and then like bring myself out of it and then like sketch it really quick and then go back in and then after that finalize everything and like shade everything. But the initial like image grabbing sourcing usually comes from that kind of state. Um, and I feel like that creates like less pressure for me because it's like it doesn't feel like it's coming from me. It feels like it's coming from the collective everything. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Did that
great. I
answer?
think it's also
Okay.
poignant that you're talking about this kind of like meditative, like almost like supernatural, if you will, like quality to the work. And
Mm.
you're wearing a Helma F. Clinch shirt. I think it's amazing. So you talked about this meditative state that you kind of get your source imagery from. Is there anywhere else that you kind of look to for inspiration?
Yeah. I think just like the natural world in general, like unknown things or things that I like haven't seen before, or just interesting like shapes and forms that I feel like would work but well on bodies. And that's with bodies of work as well. Um, and in my like painting practice, I'll go out and find found objects and then bring those into my paintings as well. And I feel like a lot of my work it just surrounds like the energy that people bring and that we leave behind, and a lot of it is about like history in that way.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, I didn't mention this question at the beginning, but I do want to ask you this now if you're open to it.
Yeah.
What do you want people to take away from your work, if anything, if there's anything specific?
Mm, I think I feel like that answer has changed a lot over the last few years. Um, I want people to feel like connected to it, even if they don't know why, because it doesn't have to be a why. You can just like love something and not have a reason for that. Um, and I feel like in my painting work, because it is so like textural, I want people to like touch it and I want people to like be really like connected with it in that way physically. Um, I think that's really important, and we've lost a lot of that like physicality, but and there's like it feels like there's a wall between a lot of like viewer and art. Um, yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why my work becomes so textured is because that's how I see the world, and I have to like touch things in order to see it fully. And I want people to do the same with my work.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely get that from your work, kind of this enigmatic attraction that you're not quite sure what it is being represented, but it's just so captivating. Um, I
Thank
think
you.
the last question I have for you is just like, I guess if you could sum up your practice in one word, what would that be?
Mm. A word that I've kept coming back to the last few days was just like remembering,
Mm.
a constant remembering, whether that be like from another lifetime or from today or future at any point, or in a future lifetime. I feel like it's because it's all this one thing, and we're just trying to figure it out.
I love
um,
that, Lauren. Yeah, I love that. Is there anything else that you want to share with the Azul audience about your time there or your work that we didn't get to talk about yet?
I wrote this in my like feedback thing that Camille gave me. But I feel like every inch of the space is just filled with like so much love, and you can like see it and feel it. And like there's little like details and everything, and you can tell that like every inch someone has like taken time and like sat with that space and then like decided it was done. But it's also just like a work in progress, always. And that's also a really cool thing, that it's ever evolving.